Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, you guys. I cannot explain how excited I am for this figure. This has been my most anticipated figure this year because it's Rebirth Batman. Rebirth Batman is the greatest Batman of all time. That's right, I've said it. I said it. I know it's a bold ass statement, but damn it, it's my review and this is my figure, and I'm gonna say it not just because it's my figure, but because of all the Rebirth comics I read, and it has some of the best Batman stories ever written and ever drawn. And this Rebirth Batman costume is just my favorite Batman costume of all time. So bold ass statement, I know, but I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna say it. Rebirth Batman is absolutely my favorite. He always has been, and he always will be. And speaking of Rebirth Batman, let's look at him in the packaging, looking badass. His Rebirth symbol, his belt, his boots, his knee pads. Got the DC logo down there. So Rebirth Batman once again in the packaging. Just looking absolutely stellar. And you got DC Multiverse at the bottom. You got Batman. You got all the legalities at the bottom. You got all of that. You got a lot going on here with the packaging. You got Batman DC Rebirth on the side there. On the top of the packaging, you got the open window. You can see the top of Batman. And on the other side, it's open. You can see on the other side as well. You can see Batman still looking badass. You got Batman on the side there. You got the characters, Superboy Prime, Joker, Hazmat suit Batman? Okay. And Batman Beyond, different version, different radical version. And then you got the artwork of Batman on the side here. Just awesome. His batarang, his costume, him looking completely badass. His costume, the sculpt, it's a little different, as it always is. You got him standing on that statue there. That's looking dope. And then you got the figure itself. You got Batman himself and the packaging. Just looking absolutely killer. Looking absolutely fantastic. It's Rebirth Batman. And there is just nothing else to say. It's Rebirth Batman. And the packaging is pretty simple. You got the trading card on the inside. You got his two accessories, his grapple hook, and the batarang. So let's get Batman out of packaging. Let's continue with the review. You got 22 points of articulation. You also got the Mcfarlane toys in the top corner. Like I said, you got Rebirth Batman himself. So let's do it. Let's crack Batman open. So excited. So super, super excited. I cannot explain how excited I freaking am. So let's crack him open. Let's do it. And let's review the Batman. And here's Rebirth Batman out of the packaging. And oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This might have turned out better than I hoped. I'm going to try to remain neutral. I'm going to try to tamper my excitement and expectations. But oh man, does this Batman look spectacular. The head sculpt looks amazing. His head sculpt looks phenomenal. The serious Batman head sculpt with the short ears. I love short ears Batman. The whited out eyes. The raised sculpted bat emblem with the yellow and the black that I love so much. His sculpted muscles. And now having him in hand, I actually like his body build. I know a lot of people are complaining about that. He has an open trigger hand. He has no alternate hands. He has a fisted hand. He has his belt. His belt looks amazing. The sculpting of his belt is fantastic. Got his sculpted diaper underoos, but it blends in. It blends in just fine. On camera, it looks off color, but when you actually have it in hand and in person, it blends in just fine. You see his muscles. It look like he has birthing legs, but it's just Batman being a badass because he's muscular and he's a martial artist. He's the world's probably greatest martial artist, or one of them anyway. You see the sculpting of his boots there, the design of it, the rebirth outline of it. You see his knee pads, the bat knee pads. I'm definitely going to paint those black when I get my black marker that's coming in the mail. You see his boots, his nice sculpted boots. Nice. The sculpting of his cape is phenomenal. He looks absolutely amazing. You see his bat ears from the back. The wrinkles and the folds in the cape is just absolutely fanatical. It is just absolutely fantastic. The sculpting of his gauntlets and his gloves raised. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It's just absolutely they just killed it. The sculpting of his gloves. I mean, everything. Like, Mcfarlane really killed it with this figure. They really paid attention to detail. They really, really knocked it out of the park. The gloves, gauntlets, and my personal favorite, the purple. The purple in his cape. And his cape is kind of waved off to the side a little bit. As you can tell, it's kind of like brushing with the wind, but not in a very like in your face kind of way. It's not like, it just looked like his cape is standing on its own, and it looks like, it's just like flowing down. So it's flowing with the wind, but it's flowing down. It kind of has like a little swoosh effect a little bit, but for the most part, it's fantastic. And his cape is purple. There's purple on the inside, as it should be, because this is Rebirth Batman. And I just fell in love with this costume when I first saw it. When I first saw Bruce don this costume, I was like, yeah. That's fucking Batman. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely my favorite design for Batman. A lot of people are buying this figure too, so it must be a lot of Rebirth Batman fans out there, because a lot of people are buying it. I was surprised how many people, when I purchased this on eBay, it was like 12 of them. And then I looked around a couple hours later and there was like 2 left. So people are definitely feeling this Batman. I'm definitely feeling it. And you got the back there, you got some gappage, and you got his utility belt, and it's painted all the way through and through the back. You don't really have that much gappage here. It kind of flows through. You got his pecs, you got his pectoral muscles, you got his deltoids. Ow. But he is Batman. Make no mistake about it. This is definitely Batman, and he scales very well. This is a slimmer Batman. This is a more sleeker Batman, and I love it. He's still brolic. He still got muscles. Also, this is a Batman that will fit in with smaller lines, which I will get into size comparisons later. So you have his grapnel gun, and I love this. I love this design. This design looks sick. So this is his grapnel gun. It looks amazing. Love it. I love the design. A lot of people said this is like a Keaton-esque grapple gun. I don't see it. Maybe I need to rewatch 89 Keaton Batman again, and even Batman Returns, because I don't see it. I see this like a Arkham kind of gun. It looks like Batman Arkham Asylum or something. But everybody has their own interpretation of Batman, because it's fucking Batman. So, and this is raised. I like that a lot. And you could put a little coloring in here. I'm probably going to paint a little yellow in there to bring that out. That's going to look really good. You got his batarang here. Looks amazing. And it can fit right in his bat emblem, which is really cool. And also it can fit in his hand. So we're going to put that batarang right in there like that. Like so. And there you have it. Or you can do it from the other side. You can put it like that. And you can do it like that. And you can pose up your Batman, like looking off to the side, something like that. You could do something really nice and iconic like that. So, could really let your imagination go with this Batman. Take the battering out. And here's Batman holding his grapnel gun. Really easy to put it in and take it out. It's another pose that you can get him in. Actually, you can get him looking all the way up. So when he's pointing up with his grapnel gun, right, you can just get him looking all the way up. Or you can get him looking up as far as you can. He's pointing his grapnel gun and he's about to shoot his grapnel gun off. You can do something like that. So you definitely have options with this Batman that I really like a lot. And this little grapple piece is not removable. I kind of missed that with the Mezco figures, because with the Mezco figures it was removable, and I really thought that was a cool touch. But this is Mcfarlane, it's not Mezco, but Mcfarlane is killing it in the regards of Batman. Definitely Mcfarlane is making a lot of Batman figures because Batman sells. So he's making a lot of bat people. So I'm gonna have Bat stare, strike a little pose. His other accessory is his display stand, of course, but my Batman is standing just fine, so I don't need that. And this is his card, which, see if I can get this out of here in a second so I can display his card if I can get it. If I can crack it open. Yeah, so that took a little doing. And here's the card. I kind of cut it by mistake when I was getting Batman out of the packaging. Took a little too much scissors to it and cut the card, but it's still fine. It's still functional. It still looks awesome. It's still a little bit of a different design from Batman in person himself. Batman DC Rebirth. You see the purple in his cape. You see the nice photogenicness of Batman. Batman DC Rebirth, Data 5, real name Bruce Wayne. As a child, Bruce Wayne watched as his parents were brutally killed in Gotham City. Gotham City's crime alley. Traumatized by their deaths, he devoted his life to becoming the world's greatest weapon against crime, the Batman. To become the ultimate vigilante, the Dark Knight disciplined his mind and body to reach the pinnacle of mental and physical superiority to his relentless pursuit of justice. DC Multiverse. Batman. And that's his trading card. And this Batman is incredible. So I have been gawking at this figure and I have been praising it long enough. So let's get into articulation. So his head, as I said before, can look up a very good amount and can look down nicely. He does have some wobblage, some head pivoting, some attitude, a lot of attitude. He can look all the way around, and his arms can go out. As you hear that crunch and that crack, his arms can go out about that much. He does have a full 360 rotation. He does have upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, a full wrist and hinge rotation. He does have an ab crunch that goes back about that far. Crunches forward about that far. It does have some pivoting movement, a nice range of movement as well. And his waist can articulate 360 all the way around. Hinges. He splits all the way out, which is good for Batman because he's a martial artist. So he should be doing some Van Damme splits. And he does have a little bit of a swivel in the thigh cut, slightly, ever so slightly. He does have double jointed knees and no boot rotation. He does have the hinge and the ball joint in his ankles, so it is a lot of range, a lot of movement. You can get around with it. He does have toe articulation. and he can ankle pivot and hinge up and down. So very good articulation from Mr. Bruce Wayne for the Batman. Very good articulation. So we're going to get into some size comparisons because I got a lot of Batman characters that I need to size compare him with. So first up we have Penguin, which is hilarious because Penguin is so darn short. So that's first up is Penguin. Next we have the Mattel KG Beast. KG Beast, that stands for Bratva. So this is what I'm saying, where this is a smaller Batman. He scales perfectly with your other DC lines, and I love that. I just absolutely love it, because DC Multiverse McFarlane figures are just overly sized. They're exaggerated. They're like 7.5, almost 8 inches tall. They're too big, too beefy. But this Batman just scales so well. So he will scale in nicely with these other lines. And this is Mattel. And I can't get full view of this because he's just too darn big. So this is him next to Killer Croc. In case if you want to know what Killer Croc looks like, this is what he looks like. This is the Arkham Origins Killer Croc. So this just goes to show you how huge Killer Croc is. This is the DC Collectibles Killer Croc from Arkham Origins. So that's a comparison. And here he is next to Professor Crane, the Scarecrow, as well. And he fell over. This is the Mattel Harvey Dent Two-Face. And this is a very good figure. I've been happy with this Two-Face for a very long time. This was Mattel's last line of defense with making figures. And Two-Face, Alfred, like they, the Green Lantern, not Hal Jordan, not Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, like they really went out with a bang. I got to give it to Mattel. Like they was like, okay, we ain't gonna make no more DC figures, so this is our last line, and it's good. I still like this Two-Face a lot, but once McFarlane does make an updated Two-Face, I will be getting him. So, and this is Anarchy. This is the DC Collectibles Anarchy, and this is just such a well-made figure. Like, the fact that this Batman is fitting in with these different lines is so amazing. So I'm just so happy with what McFarlane did here with this Batman, because I'm mixing and matching my ass off right now with Mattel, DC Collectibles, and he's just fitting right in, and it's just wonderful. I love it. And once again, like I was saying before, with Mattel's last line of defense, this is Alfred. This is the Mattel Alfred. And he fits, once again, like I said, he fits in so well. He fits in beautifully. He fits in perfect. And this is my DC Direct Bane. I need an updated Bane. I think that McFarlane needs to make a new updated Bane. I know that they already made a Bane from the, it's not Dark Knight's Metal, but it's from another Elseworlds story. And he comes with the Scarecrow attached. But they need to make a new Bane. We need a new, updated, bigger, badder, broader Bane. And I'm just looking forward to McFarlane doing that. And once they do it, I will purchase it. Because I've had this Bane for many, many, many years. And he's the only Bane that I have. So I definitely need an upgrade. And he doesn't scale that well with this Batman. So we need a new, upgraded Bane. McFarlane, make that happen. This scaling is so good. Like I said, McFarlane killed it with this Batman. The scaling is so freaking good. So we have Ra's al Ghul. Once again, DC Collectibles. It's not McFarlane. It looked like these figures are McFarlane figures, but they're not. They're scaling perfectly with this Rebirth McFarlane Batman. And I'm just loving it. So this is Ra's al Ghul. And these are two ninjas. So he fell over. But these, this is the hand ninja, the one that's in red. And that is Ronin, but I use him as a ninja. So if you want to get your ninja party on with Batman, because he does face off against ninjas in variant forms and different things like that. So definitely, this is Marvel Legends. So he's definitely taller than Marvel Legends, because Marvel Legends is 6 inches, but I think it still fits in. And also, he's going to match up against himself, Bruce Wayne, and I think this works out because I did some custom paint to paint his shirt purple. So, matches with the purple on the inside of his cape for Batman Rebirth. And I think it works out. So this Bruce Wayne, I think body wise, it fits because this is a sleeker, slimmer version of Bruce Wayne in Batman Rebirth. And I have my custom Bruce Wayne DC collectibles here on the Red Hood Joker body. And I think this scales up pretty nice too. I mean, he's a little shorter, but I think it scales up okay. And last but not least, we have here my custom Mesco Christopher Reeve Superman, and we have Batman Rebirth in the middle, and we have Mezco Batman. And I still love Mezco Batman. I still think that Mezco makes the best Batman figures, but right behind them is definitely McFarlane for sure. If Mezco is number one, McFarlane most assuredly is definitely number two. So I'm very happy, very pleased with this trio right here. So that was last size comparisons. So my final thoughts. What's my final verdict? I'm gonna go with a 9 out of 10. I wanted to go 9.5, but I can't go higher because there's some little things that bothers me with this figure. Very minor, very very minor. Overall, I'm very very satisfied with this figure. Absolutely, because it's Rebirth Batman. It's the all-time greatest Batman of all time. The Batman that I love. I wish that the movies would adapt this costume and just make like there's been variations of it. I think that Matt Reeves' Batman movie came sort of tiny bit close to the design of a Rebirth costume Batman. Not really, but kind of in a small Easter eggish kind of way. With the way the bat emblem kind of looked, even though it was a different shape, the way it had the suit design kind of was. I guess you can argue it's a little nod to Rebirth Batman, but Matt Reeves just his Batman was just an amalgamation of just so many different Batmen, from the story to the portrayals, to all the Easter eggs in the movie. I think he just took all the best things about Batman and put it in his movie. And I liked the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I liked it a lot. At first, the movie was off-putting to me. It's like I had to get used to the kind of movie it was, because you're so used to a traditional Batman movie that's just full of, action, and this was more slower paced, and it was just a different Batman that I had to get used to. So took me a while to get used to it, but once it got going, I was like, this is fucking Batman. And Robert Pattinson just killed it as Batman. His Bruce Wayne, little left to be desired. He needs to work on his Bruce Wayne, but his Batman portrayal was spot on. Like when he was on screen, I was like, that's freaking Batman. Like, make no mistake about it. Like, it was definitely Batman. Oh, one more Marvel Legends size comparison I can do is black costume Spider-Man. I gotta straighten out his legs and stand him up straight, and that's black costume Spider-Man next to Rebirth Batman. So he's definitely bigger than Marvel Legends, which of course is expected. But yeah, so Rebirth Batman, this figure is an absolute must get. If you're a fan of the Rebirth Batman comics at all, if you're a fan of Rebirth Batman at all, you need this figure. This is no question about it. This is the best Batman on the market right now, especially for the price, $20. Can't beat it. So much bang for your buck. It gives you a lot. It gives you more than it doesn't give you. The sculpting, the sculpt, the detail, the paint, the coloring, and it's just so spot on. Like it is spot on. He's ripped straight right out of the doggone comic book. So it is just so spot on to Batman. And this is a figure that you just need. You just have to have. It's a must get. If you're a Batman fan, you probably still want to get this figure because you're a Batman fan. So it's like you just have to have every Batman in your collection. I needed this. If it was any other version of Batman, I would have passed on it. I would have said no. But this is Rebirth Batman. I had to get it. This is the only line, which is Mcfarlane, that is making a Rebirth Batman. All the other lines, are past tense, shot up in price or whatever, or they're figures that I don't want. But once I saw this, once it got announced like a couple of months ago, I didn't even know that this figure was even coming out. It just totally blew me by surprise. I was like, I saw this figure online and I was like, Rebirth Batman. I was like, McFarlane really loves the Rebirth comic books. But he does New 52 stuff too. So, but that's all a part of Rebirth. It is. New 52 is part of Rebirth. You can't just say one or the other. It's definitely connected. So, I think McFarlane has a huge love for that. I think he has a huge love for the Batman character. And it definitely shows. It shows in this figure. It definitely shows a lot. And I am absolutely in love with this figure. I give it a 9 out of 10. There's some articulation points that's not as great. I don't really care for. There's some minor things like his cape. There's some gappage here in his cape there. There's a little bit of gappage. So I got to ding points for that. But it's a 9 out of 10. Like I'm only dinging it just a couple of points, but it's almost a perfect figure. This is as close to perfection as Batman as you can get. His face sculpt, the sculpting, the paint, his bat emblem is raised, as you can see. It's definitely raised. It's not just painted, it's raised, which I really appreciate that. All the other Rebirth Batman, it was just painted on, but it's actually a real Batman shield. You know what I mean? Like it's real. So this is an awesome figure. It's a must get. It fits in with so many different lines, and I appreciate that. I wish McFarlane would do this more often instead of making that figure so big and overly exaggerated. One other gripe I might say is his head is a little too small. His head could have been slightly bigger, just a little bit, just a little more bigger. But he gets a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 Bat Stars. So, this has been my review, guys, of the Rebirth Batman. Let me know what you think. And until the next time, see ya. 'Cause I'm Rebirth Batman.